line is 800-452-1111 or 515-223-1400. There's also a dedicated email to accept tips, and that's tips@powashikcosheriff.com. And I want to just tell the people, if you have a tip from outside the area, if it's outside of Brooklyn, Iowa, please call your local authorities. Reporting a tip that you see outside the area would take time for us to respond to that. So if you're from out of state or out of the general area of Powashik County, please call your local authorities. They've been great about following up on these tips. So to speed things up, if you could do that, that would be very helpful to us. And there's a couple of people I want to thank. And first of all, I want to thank Central Iowa Crime Stoppers for staffing the tip lines. They've been getting hundreds of tips every day, and they're working very hard at it. And they're also working, I'd like to thank them for working with the family on the reward that's been put out for Molly. And there's one other group of people that I want to thank, and that's from my office. I want to thank all my co-workers for working hard on this, especially our dispatchers. They're being inundated with telephone calls and all kinds of things, and two of them live in Brooklyn, so it's very dear and close to their hearts what's happening here. They've been getting beat up over this, and I just want to make sure that they know how much we appreciate what they're doing too. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff. I guess I should have started by introducing myself. My name is Kevin Winker. I'm the Director of Investigative Operations for the Iowa Department of Public Safety. Since I last met with you on Tuesday, the investigative response has not slowed down. Investigators from the Powashik County Sheriff's Office, the DCI, and the FBI continue to complete leads that have come in, as well as evaluate and prioritize new leads being received every day. Unfortunately, we have not yet found Molly, but it has not been due to a lack of effort or a lack of resources. We appreciate the continued support of Molly's family, the entire community, and the media organizations keeping this story in the news. Although we appreciate everyone showing up today for this press conference, our position has not changed on the release of case facts, results, and conclusions. I understand this is frustrating for many in the public and the media, but feel this is necessary for our investigation. Our position has also not changed in that if we evaluate a piece of information and feel its release could lead us to Molly, we will do so immediately. As mentioned previously, there are media reports regarding details of this investigation the DCI has not confirmed. The fact that we do not confirm or deny these details is not an indicator of their truth or falsity. We have been asked about social media postings and the investigation and whether they are beneficial or not. These postings are beneficial in that they keep the investigation in the public eye. However, I would keep in mind that these postings are often rumor and unconfirmed by law enforcement. As a result of this investigation, many questions have arisen from the public and the media regarding missing children in Iowa. With me today is Medina Romanovich, who is the Missing Person Information Clearinghouse Manager for the Division of Criminal Investigation. At this time, I would ask her to come forward to provide some information related to missing persons in Iowa. Medina.
Kevin. Good morning, everyone. As Kevin has mentioned, my name is Medina Romanovich, and I am the Iowa Missing Persons Information Clearinghouse Manager. Today, we would like to address some frequently asked questions we've been receiving not only from the media, but from the general public as well. We would like to start with some general statistics. As of yesterday, August 2nd, there were a total of 390 persons entered into the National Crime Information Center. Of those, 225 were listed as juveniles. A majority of those are runaway situations. 26 of those individuals listed on the Clearinghouse website are categorized as involuntary. Those 26 cases date back as far as 1976, which confirms that abductions and involuntary disappearances are not common in our state. Numbers have been staying steady over the years when it comes to missing persons, runaway youth, and Amber Alerts. The Clearinghouse website was established in 1985 as a result of Iowa legislation passed in Iowa Code Chapter 694, designed to disseminate information to keep the public informed on missing Iowans. Iowa is one of the few states that publishes all missing persons information. Local law enforcement agencies have primary authority to address missing persons cases in the state of Iowa. All entries into the National Crime Information Center, as well as investigations, are handled by local police departments and sheriff's offices. They can seek assistance from state and federal law enforcement partners if needed. The Clearinghouse keeps track of significant likely criminal cases occurring in our jurisdiction, regardless of the time frame. People go missing for various reasons, whether that be by choice, wandering away because of their disability, running away from home, stranger abduction, or by someone that they know. We really hope that this clarified some questions that the media and the public has had regarding missing persons. And at this point, I'll take any questions that you may have regarding missing persons in Iowa.
Okay. All right. We plan to conduct another press conference right now next Tuesday. Information about that press conference will be posted on the DPS website. We hope to have more information to provide to you next Tuesday. At this time, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to address them. Yes, sir.
Sir, Ted Williams, Fox News. It has been reported that a red shirt has been found, and I was wondering, can you shed any light on whether a red shirt has been found and whether there is any kind of a nexus between the red shirt that may have been found and Molly, and do you actually at this stage have any suspects?
I don't have any information with me today on a red shirt being found, and that's not to say that there was one found or not found. I just don't have that information. As far as suspects go, we continue to look at all possibilities. I'm not in a position right now to say we have suspects, we don't have suspects, persons of interest, or anything else.
Initially, it was reported by your agency and others that she was wearing a black sports top, and now there's newer descriptions, as you just referred, that says she was in a pink sports top, and then they be confusing the people or even the public. Can you explain the discrepancy there?
No, I don't, but I can look into that and get back to you.
Even on the poster it says black sports top.
Yeah, I can't explain that, but I'll look into that and get back to you if you give me your information.
Sir, is Wayne Chaney officially a suspect?
As I had mentioned previously, we're not in a position to say who is a suspect, who isn't a suspect, or that there are suspects.
Have you employed any divers to search area ponds?
We have been searching ponds, fields, and even from the air. So we've been doing searches in many different manners. I don't have that information as far as if we're using divers. My assumption would be is if we're searching ponds, we are using divers.
Has there been any thought to restarting some of the search efforts with the volunteers? There were some people out yesterday. The owner attributed that to law enforcement going back. I mean, would that do any good to ask for the volunteers again and search new areas farther away?
Well, I leave that up to the investigative team to determine what the priorities are for the investigation on any given day. They have the latitude. They have all of the information at their availability to make those decisions, and we leave those decisions up to the investigative team.
Sure.
Yes.
Since you raised the reward amount, have more tips been coming in?
Tips have been coming in regularly. The pace to which they're coming in, I can't speak to whether it's increased, decreased, stayed the same since the reward amount has been upped.
Have you found any articles of clothing or any physical evidence?
And again, that's going to be another area that I'm not going to delve into at this time because it would speak to the results of an investigative lead.
Can I confirm what you just said, that you have no suspects and no persons of interest? Is that correct?
No, regardless of what I just said or you interpreted, I'm not going to speak to the fact as to whether we have suspects, persons of interest, or anything else.
And can I follow up? Are you saying that you have no solid leads at this point?
No, because I think all leads are valuable. How you define solid would be up for interpretation, but at this point, we view all leads as valuable. As they come in, they're evaluated and prioritized, and we are looking into everything at this point. Yes, sir.
Would you say you're closer to solving this now than you were 2 weeks ago on the 19th?
You know, that would be a conclusion based on the investigation, and I'm not going to speak to that at this point. Yes, sir.
Recovery or rescue?
Made it back to the home that day, or was she abducted? Did she disappear at large?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Can you clarify if Molly Tibbetts made it back inside the home? Did she went missing, or was she abducted, or did she disappear at large?
I'm confident we have a solid timeline that they're working off of, and at this point we're not ready to disclose what that timeline is, which is basically what your question is.
Since the reward fund was increased, can you characterize the kind of tips that have come in? Have there been different kinds of tips? Has doing that as a reward or recovery fund have produced anything significantly different than you were getting before?
I really don't have the information with me right now to say that if any of the leads that were developed provided anything significant or not. Again, I will say leads are a good thing. As tips come in, they generate leads, and it gives us an area to look and an avenue to explore. So I would say all leads are important, and they're all being looked at.
Was there any sign of a disturbance inside the home? Anything out of place? Anything unusual at home?
And again, that's another area that would cause me to comment on the result of an investigative lead, and I'm just not going to do that at this time.
Can you expand at all on the search that happened yesterday on the property on 21? What you guys were looking for in specifics?
No. As I've mentioned previously, as leads come in and information is evaluated, the investigative team responds to those and prioritizes those. I would expect those searches to continue, whether they're from the air, on bodies of water, or in fields, wherever those leads may take them.
Are you treating this as a stranger abduction?
We're treating this as a missing persons investigation, and we're trying to find Molly, and that continues to be our focus, is to find Molly.
Can you clarify the importance of every passing hour in a missing person's case?
It's frustrating for everybody. It's frustrating for the investigative team, it's frustrating for us, and it's particularly frustrating for the family and friends of Molly. So obviously nobody wants to find Molly more than these folks right here, and we're included in that group. It's very frustrating, but it hasn't slowed our efforts. We have not slowed down at all the investigative process, and so we come to work every day with an attitude that we're going to find Molly today, and we hope to be able to do that and report that to you soon.
Can you confirm that there was foul play?
I'm not going to confirm anything at this point related to the results of a lead or try and draw conclusions about what the investigation shows at this time.
Do you say how many tips have come out at this point?
I don't have that number. It would be in the hundreds.
Can you say how many state police officers are working the case?
I would say, I believe we reported previously, and not just state police officers, but investigators in general from the Poweshiek County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, the Division of Criminal Investigation. There are on average 30 to 40 working this case a day.
Briefly explain how releasing this information might compromise your investigation. Because a lot of people are saying if you gave us more, we can help you. Tell us how that could potentially backfire.
Well, but I mean, as part of our evaluation process, we consider that. And so there are parts of any investigation that we hold very closely for good reason. So we are constantly evaluating that process as well as to what information we should release and what information we shouldn't. At this point, we don't believe it's the appropriate time to do so. It's a delicate balance with this information, but we believe this is the right approach. We are going to stay this approach. We recognize that it's frustrating for everyone involved, but we believe it gives us the best opportunity to resolve this investigation.
Can you speak on the importance of the public giving tips, no matter how small?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question.
Can you speak on the importance of the public giving tips, small, big, whatever tips they have? Why is that so important?
Well, it's important because it continues to let us get to know Molly, particularly people that know Molly or may have seen Molly, talked to Molly in the days leading up to her disappearance. So obviously if people have that type of information that we haven't talked to yet, we would encourage them to call us. As the sheriff said, if somebody thinks they've seen Molly right away, they need to call 911 or call local law enforcement to generate an immediate response to wherever that location is that sighting occurred. Information like you're talking about, people that may have known Molly, that may just want to come forward and provide a piece of information, they can use the tip line to do that. But if they believe they know the immediate whereabouts of Molly right now, they need to be calling 911 or their local law enforcement wherever they may be in the country.
Can you confirm that law enforcement searched a pig farm right around the vicinity of Brooklyn, Iowa, And if you did, have you had to return to that pig farm? And my final question is, have you asked any of the suspects, if you can respond, to take a polygraph examination?
We have searched many areas around Brooklyn, Iowa. I can't speak to the specifics of that, and I'm not going to speak to what we have or have not asked any people to do in regards to this investigation.
Can you say how many people have been interviewed?
I don't have that number. And like I said, we've been following up on leads. Those leads are in the hundreds. Obviously, they're not all interviews, but we've conducted numerous interviews to this point.
Did we hear from Molly's mom or dad to react to today's press conference? Does it make you any more optimistic knowing how many people are actually looking for Molly and the investigators on the case?
Just standing here looking at all of you, time is compressed. Days seem like weeks, and we've all become a family. I see all of your faces. I recognize all of you. We've all spoken many times. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you. You're all working 16, 18-hour days, just like the investigative team. You're living out of suitcases, all so you can share this story. So we're all in this together. We're all trying to bring Molly back. And we are deeply appreciative of all of our partners, both from law enforcement and all of you. I can't tell you how grateful we are. And we'll continue. You call us, we'll show up. Dalton was up at 5 in the morning. We'll help you in any way we can because you're helping us, and we're really, really grateful.
Law enforcement indicated they have seen an increase in tips since the larger reward fund announced yesterday. Are you encouraged by that, that it's generating more? I assume that's what you hope for.
Very, very much so. Laura's done an amazing job of pulling this all together. I think you might want to comment about developments and how people streamlining the process and how they can contribute. And so my message today, it just occurred to me, standing you all collectively together, how we've all become a family just in a few days together. So just thank you all very much, both law enforcement and the media.
All right, thank you, folks.
And you've been listening to a news conference in Iowa about 20-year-old Molly Tibbetts. She went missing 2 weeks ago and still has not been found. Officials would not comment on suspects or leads in the investigation. They said they are taking all tips seriously. We're going to take a quick break now. You're streaming CBSN, CBS News, always on.